Hi there, it's Karen at Corrie Papercrafts here. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in central Scotland. Today I want to show you how I made this. It's a mini tri-fold notebook, and if I just undo the string here, it opens up to reveal your notebook and a little pocket here where I've just popped in a couple of tags as well. So I'm going to show you how I made it. It is really easy, and I'm going to just change it up a little bit. This is my prototype really, and I'm not sure I'm happy with the colours that I've used, so I'm going to make it, instead of Whisper White, I'm going to make it in Night of Navy. The little notebook inside measures 5 inches by 3 inches, and in the UK I bought it in a supermarket. It's Asda. I think these notebooks cost about 50p each or something, and they do have 120 sheets and perfectly measure 1/4 of an inch thick as well. So I'm going to show you how I made this, and this is actually my thank you gift for those that bought my July craft kit, which featured the Sailing Home or the Come Sail Away suite anyway. So if I pop this to the side, I've done some of the prep in advance for this because there's a few bits to it, although it doesn't take too long. So what you're going to need for the card cover, you're going to need a piece of cardstock which measures 9.5 inches by 5 inches. And then you're going to need 4 pieces of designer series paper, which each measure 4 7/8 inches across the way by, no sorry, down the way 4 7/8 by 2 7/8. So it's just 1/8 of an inch shorter and narrower than the 3x5 panels on the cardstock. And then for the little pocket on the inside, quite easy to make, I cut a piece of cardstock which measures, and I apologise because there's 1/15 of inches here, it's cut to 2 15/16 of an inch by 3.5 inches, and the DSP to go on the top of that measures 3 3/8 of an inch by 2 13/16 of an inch. And all I did to get it cut at an angle was I measured it up on my trimmer and measured it to made a mark at 1 inch, and then just popped it in my trimmer and cut it at an angle. I'll just show you very quickly what I mean by that. So I measured the piece of card to 1 inch here, made a pencil mark at this point here, and then I just lined it up in the track of my trimmer and cut it for both the cardstock and the DSP. So you can make that straight or angled, and you can make it as angled as you like. It doesn't really matter. So I've already scored my cardstock to save a little bit of time. So on the 9.5 inch side, you're going to score it at 3 inches, 3 1/4, 6 1/4 and 6 1/2, and that's all the scoring you need to do. Then you just need to fold and burnish, which I'll do if I can get my scoreboard out of the way. Just make sure you give these folds a really good burnish so that they stay closed once you've folded your notebook over, although in saying that we are going to put some baker's twine around it. So this is Night of Navy that I'm going to make this one in this time, just to see if I like it a little bit better than the Whisper White. I made it and then I decided I didn't really like it, so that's why you make them and see what you think. So just giving these a good burnish on all those folds, and that's where you get your tri-fold from. So it's going to fold over like that once we put it together. So all I need to do now is stick on my pieces of DSP. So I'm going to put one piece on each of the outside surfaces and one on the left hand side of this little notebook. So I'm just going to very quickly do that with some liquid glue. A bit gungy around the top, but hopefully just take it as close to the edge as you can without overlapping, because you don't want it to squish out the side. I always get glue in places that I shouldn't, always. So if it's a directional pattern, obviously you want to make sure that they all face the same way as well. This is just stripes, so it makes it a little bit easier. So that's the first panel. Second panel. Come on. You're going to squish out at the edges, and I don't want you to. Give that a bit of a smoosh as well. Glue all over the place. I cannot use liquid glue without getting it all over me, honestly. I'm as bad as the kids used to be. That looks quite central. The saving grace with using this DSP with navy cardstock is if it's a little bit squint, you're not really going to notice. Oh, I'm covered in glue now. Next piece. Come down a bit. Excuse all the rabbits and guinea pigs making a noise in the background. They always wait till I start filming, and then it's like they want to get in on the act. Milo is the rabbit outside on the landing that you can hear, if you can hear him, rattling the bars of his cage because he knows I'm in here doing something, and he wants me to go and speak to him, which I will do after I've finished the video, but no chance at the minute, Milo. Oh, I am covered in glue and I'm moving everything. Right, where's my adhesive remover? Let's get rid of that because otherwise I'm going to stick to it. There we are. And then one more piece just on the inside there. There we go. Are you like me, and if you see a bit that hasn't got glue on it, you've got to go back and put some on? I always do that, as if it's not going to stay stuck with all the rest of the glue that I've put on it. Right, so that's squished out a little bit at the side, so I am going to have to get that off with my adhesive remover once it's dry. So that's not too bad. So that's essentially the cover done as quickly as that, and all I need to do now is just stick the DSP onto the cardstock that's going to be the flap on the inside. And just popping that on with a little border around it. That looks about right. Oops, I moved that a little bit, but that looks okay. And then what I've done on this piece of card for the inside flap is I've just popped some tearing tape. I'm going to put the lid on the glue, and I'm actually going to grab a wipe because my fingers are absolutely covered in glue, and I'm just going to stick to everything. So that's a bit better, much better. So all I'm going to do now is take the backing off, oops, the tearing tape, and stick that pocket on the side. So I just want to make sure that I don't overlap that fold, because that's going to stop it from folding closed. And you don't have to put it right to the bottom, that looks about right, I think. So with it being a 1/16 of an inch smaller, it lets you stick that down without hindering that hinge in any way. And then all I need to do now is pop my little notebook in the middle. So I just need to fire some glue, come on, onto the back like that. Make sure there's plenty in the middle part of it, and just make sure I centralise it in between these folds. And to help me, what I'm going to do is just fold this up and over at the sides and make sure that it's not overlapping in any way. I'm just going to push that down a little bit because it's just marginally shorter than 5 inches. Once you find you've put it in, that looks about right. So I'm just going to give that a press down on the back with my paper folder, and that's your little notebook made. Okay, so now that that's dry, actually I'm going to just use my adhesive remover, there we go, and just rub that dried glue off. Glue everywhere. So I've used the Sailing Home stamp set, and I've stamped this sentiment and a thanks and a compass using Night of Navy ink, and then I've actually cut them out using the smooth sailing dies. So I've actually used this one for the thanks, I've used this one for my sentiment, so there you are. I cut that with that, I cut that with that, and the little tag, the little anchor tag, you've seen this before in another video that I've made. I used the anchor die to cut that out. This tag here, I actually cut a piece of card to 4 inches by 2 inches and a piece of DSP to 3 7/8 by 1 7/8, just to give it a little border round, and then I shaped the top with the scallop tag topper punch. I don't have the new tag topper punch yet. And just put a little bit of the Sailing Home Baker's Twine, which is Night of Navy and Very Vanilla, and that just popped in that little pocket there. So as this is a thank you gift, I decided to pop a little thank you on the front. Oh, the compass I actually cut out using the smallest circle in the Stitched Shapes framelits. You've got ovals, circles and squares, so I used the smallest circle, which did pop a pattern round the inside of the compass. which you can't really see, and then I just mounted it onto a piece of Night of Navy card, which I punched out using the 1.5 inch circle punch. So if I pop that over there, and if I pop a little bit of glue onto my thanks sentiment, just in the middle part, don't need it on the outside. See if I can pop these on without getting covered in glue. And I'm just putting that on as centrally as I can at the bottom, just centering it on a piece of designer series paper. It's not so keen to stick, it wants to keep moving, so I'll just hold that for a second or two. Just want to see if that's straight, and it is. And then on this side, this is where I popped the set sail in the direction of your dreams. So again, a little bit of glue on that, just enough to hold it down, because being a notebook, this will be getting opened and closed a few times, so I want to make sure this stays put. And again, just making sure it's in the middle and fairly straight. The good thing about having stripy paper is it helps you to line it up a bit. There we go. And then I'm going to pop my compass on that other side. Oops, didn't manage it without getting covered in glue. And my north, south, east and west, just make sure that they're all in the right place, which they are. There we go. And I'm thinking that I might I've already got a little anchor here with some baker's twine in it, because this on the flap is quite blank, so I think I'll just add that to there, and actually instead of glue, just to leave a little bit of room for the thickness of the baker's twine, where are they? I'm going to just pop on a couple of glue dots. There they are. Oops, because I was using them earlier. I hadn't laid them out for this project, but having thought about it, I'm just going to add one there and one there, one in the middle, and again I think I'll just add an extra couple because I want this to stay stuck when the notebook's getting opened and closed a few times. So there we are. So just line it up to wherever you want your anchor, and I think that'll do nicely, just stuck down there. And that's it. You can stick your little tag in there if you want, but I'm going to leave that in my other one for now. And being a notebook, you could put shopping lists on that, you could add some receipts in here in the pocket, or you could put stamps, whatever you like. And all I need to do is just wrap around some of the baker's twine, and I just wrapped it round 3 or 4 times. Not really, that's probably enough actually. Get my ribbon scissors, snip that and tie it in a knot. I'll move that up just a little bit, tie it in a knot in the middle. She said, I've still got a bit of glue on my fingers because it's now sticking. Great. Come through. Come on, come through. Oh, try again, Karen. Without sticking to me this time, hopefully. I can't get that bit to come through. Oh. Honestly, it didn't do this the first time round. It worked fine. There we are, got it this time. And just pull that through. And oh, it wants to go that way. Tie a bow. I actually want you to go that way so that the tails hang down the way. Could be a little bit tighter, but I'm not going to worry too much at the moment. So just get my fingers through there, pull it into a tighter bow, and space these out just a little bit, just to add a little bit of shape. Cut these down to about there. I want them to stop just above where I could do that, but I just want them above my thanks. I think you need to be a little bit shorter as well. There we go. Right, I'm going to stop fiddling now because I could mess about with it all day, and that's it. So I'm much happier with that one. I like it much better. I probably could have crisscrossed those, but I'll probably redo it later. And that's my little notebook as my thank you gift for those that bought my July craft kit. Thanks for watching. I will see you again soon. Until then, take care. Bye bye for now.